Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of the Brand Builder Show. I'm here with my namesake, Ben. Great name. Great to have you here, Ben. Ben is the founder of Privy, which is a journey which we'll get into. But thanks so much for joining us on the show today, Ben. Great to have you here.
Yeah, I'm psyched to be here, Ben.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into your journey and the tactics that we're going to talk about in the world of list building, brand building, and there's going to be lots of nuggets, I'm sure, in here for lots of people. So, just give us a bit of background before we dive too quickly into it, Ben, about your journey with e-commerce, with Privy. Bring us up to speed with where you're at now.
Yeah, so Privy today is one of the leading marketing automation solutions for Shopify brands. We also serve BigCommerce and Wix Commerce, but mostly Shopify. Today we've got over 100,000 Shopify stores that are actively using Privy to grow their customer base and drive more sales. So the platform itself spans across like things on your website that help you convert more. We call that our conversion suite. Things like pop-ups and spin wheels and dynamic shipping bars, all that. We've got an email marketing suite, and we recently rolled out a text marketing suite as well. So known for working with small to mid-sized brands, and I started the business 10 years ago.
10 years ago? Wow, I didn't realize it had been that long.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
What made you decide to start it?
I was naive and thought I could start a company, you know?
That's a good
No, so both of my parents, I don't know if you can see these logos back here, but both of my parents had their own small businesses, and I was a little technical. So studied engineering in college, and they were like, "Oh, Ben, you know computers, like build me a website. What's Google Ads? What's email marketing?" And so I just kind of was like doing this stuff for them. And I realized, wow, you know, they actually want me to teach them how to do it themselves and have tools that let them do that, as opposed to spending on, big agencies to kind of execute work. So I thought, wow, love my parents. Now they're in their 70s. Back then they were in their 60s. If their appetite is to adopt self-service marketing technology, then there's a huge shift coming where, the next generation of small business owners that, is a bit younger and digital native by age is going to absolutely want that stuff, right? And so, that was kind of the original genesis, a set of tools that let them kind of capture leads and run promotions themselves. We didn't really start in e-commerce at the time, but obviously we pivoted the business and only support e-commerce now. So from 2015, I think it was, until today, it's been all about supporting Shopify, BigCommerce, and Wix businesses.
Yeah, that's great. So you had a bit of a team built up before you launched into e-commerce. I imagine there's a lot of coding, development, that kind of stuff that needed to be done.
Yeah. We were about 5 people when we first launched e-commerce, myself and developers. So raised a little bit of money. That's a whole journey. And then we grew the team. We focused on using that round to get to profitability, which we did. And then we realized, wow, the business is really humming. And we have a once in a lifetime opportunity to do something really massive in a space that's growing quickly. So we did raise a Series A of funding. And then we built the business to about 100 people. And ended up selling to Attentive, the leader in SMS marketing.
Yeah, incredible story. And you mentioned you got 100,000 users. That's incredible. In a software space as well. That's something real special. So I imagine there's lots of people that are interested in buying it. Obviously, we want to talk about tactics for e-commerce, but entrepreneurs always want to hear about exit stories. So what was it? Is it an easy decision to sell at that time?
We ended up getting a few offers, and I was very thankful about that. It's funny, before we chose Attentive, we had a very baseline integration with them, and we saw our biggest customers were actually moving from Privy to Attentive, and we thought, oh, wow, that's interesting. And the CEO of Attentive, amazing guy, just said to me, hey, like, we want to buy the company. We're going to give you all the resources in the world. So for me, I don't have to think about fundraising anymore, which is not something that I loved. And I get to focus on small businesses, which is what I started this company for. And, there was going to be no pressure to move upstream to larger enterprises. And so the offer from Attentive was a great one. And it's been a year now, pretty much, almost a year. And like, I'm having more fun than I was before the acquisition,
Yeah. And you're sticking around long term with Privy?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I mean, what I realize is like, it's incredibly hard to build a business. I love our customer. I love solving more problems for the customers that we have. And I see a lot of opportunity ahead for us.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, congratulations on a great journey. And 10 years, it was a lot of hard work involved there. So, congrats.
Thanks.
Good. Let's talk some tactics then, because you are, as you've already alluded to, in the trenches every day, helping people with the topic of our discussion today, which is growing audiences, marketing, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's a really important conversation for a lot of our audience, because a lot of them would be predominantly Amazon sellers. And we're trying to really build out this knowledge base of becoming brand builders, building brands on Amazon. Of course, that's a great traffic source, and we certainly still subscribe to that method, but also diversifying off of Amazon, growing lists, assets, all that kind of stuff. So if you were in a room with an Amazon seller that was only selling on Amazon right now, why would you describe to them, or what would you say to them is the importance of building a customer list?
Yeah. There's very few things on the internet that you as a business owner can own.
Yeah.
Right? I think if anyone's ever found themselves getting, a warning email from Amazon or getting delisted from Amazon, you may already kind of have that fire in your belly. But really the only three things as a brand that you can own on the internet are your website, your email list, and your SMS list. Right? Facebook owns your followers, Amazon owns your customers, and same for Etsy and other marketplaces. It doesn't mean you shouldn't sell there. Those are fantastic places to get distribution and jumpstart a profitable business. But at the end of the day, if your goal is to build a long-term brand, you need to figure out how to tell that story, how to build real relationships with customers that no one can take away from you. And that's why I think it's so important, right? Because we've seen over the last few years, part of this was the Apple issue with Facebook, right? Like Facebook's getting more expensive.
Yeah,
Even Google's getting more expensive, right? I don't even know what's happening on Amazon, but I imagine it's a similar story. It's getting harder to stand out.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, the things that you can control are like content that drive people to your website and help you get found, and how you engage a customer list through email or SMS or both.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And you're right. PPC costs, cost per click is up, sort of 30% in the last sort of 12 to 18 months. So, that is, of course, a concern, and I think needs to be a factor in this decision for people. But obviously the challenge for Amazon sellers often is like, well, I get all of these customers that come to my listing every day, and all I have to do is make sure I'm ranking for these keywords, and the customers keep coming. So, why would I put all of this work in? Because there is work in setting it up. But in a way of trying to maybe incentivize them, what do you typically see with your clients? Is there a figure you can put to, if you've got X amount of people on your list, you should be making X amount of money? Are there any case studies you do like that?
Oh, yeah. So we've got a lot of data, right? We've helped our brands, collect about a 500 million email addresses.
I thought you were going to say $billion, $1 billion, but that's
No,
email addresses.
It's over $7 billion in sales through Privy campaigns. So, we definitely have the data there. And certainly now that we've added our email marketing solution, we see like revenue per send too. So, a single lead on your email list for a D2C business should generate $30 in sales each year, at least. So that's not all of the contacts on your list are going to buy from you, right? I think everyone, hopefully understands that. But that's the value of every single lead that you generate, right? And then for each kind of, let's say you send a newsletter or a promotion, like for each of those, you should expect to generate at least $500. That's the data that we see in our platform.
Yeah. Is that
So,
a certain list size?
no, that's just across all our customers, right? And again, we serve small business, right? So obviously we've got businesses that are making tens of $1,000s on every send. We have also customers that make one order on a send to 50 people, and they're psyched about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good stuff. Okay, so a seller, an e-com brand owner that wants to start growing their list, growing this asset, what are the first things that someone should be thinking of in order to start down this process?
Yeah, I would step back one level. What I would say is Amazon is Amazon. You're getting traffic. People are searching. You've got customers hitting your listing. That's great. On your D2C site, you need to think about how you're going to build sustainable traffic to your store, right? How, once you have that traffic, you're going to convert it into an email lead or an SMS lead. And then the third thing is, as you build that list up, how you get them back to the site to buy either for the first time or repeat sales, right? So that's kind of like, I don't care what your business is, but if you're selling D2C on Shopify or something like that, like that's the kind of equation that you need to figure out. From a traffic perspective, if you have, profit or budget from your Amazon business, you could give it a jump start by buying Instagram ads, by buying TikTok ads, stuff like that, doing some influencer stuff. That absolutely could be a path if you're in business and you've got budget. If you're not, you got to do it the old-fashioned way, right? And Ben, we were just talking about this before the show. I tweet a lot. I don't remember the specific tweet, but a tweet that I did a year ago about, 12 months from now, you're going to wish that you were investing in SEO and organic content, and you are, and it's now driving sales for your business. Like that is what everyone listening needs to understand, right? So I think if I was trying to jumpstart a D2C business cold right now, what I would do is, as the founder, I would start writing a blog post or two a week about the target customer that I have, right? In your case, it was STEM toys, right? Science, technology, engineering, and math, right? Very niche. That's the beauty of content for D2C is like it should be niche. And you're not going to see a sale from that blog post when you publish it today. But if you get in the rhythm as a founder of publishing content regularly, and I'm here with a podcast and I've seen what it's done for my own business, it's amazing what will happen in 6 to 12 months. It's really true. And that traffic will keep coming. So that's one. The other is we live in a visual world, right? So like every one of your customers, I guarantee, is either on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat or something, right? And so you as a founder need to figure out how you're going to get in front of those people. Is it, funny videos about your product? Is it educational videos about your product? Is it just you as the founder doing behind the scenes about building a business, right? Or is it, finding real creators that like have an audience of your target customer, but you need a strategy for traffic. That's not what we're going to focus on today. I think we should talk about list building and a couple plays that I really want to make sure everyone understands. But once you get traffic to your store, then it's about converting them, right? Yeah. In a perfect world, a visitor will end up ordering, right? I think if you're launched, if you're live, and you look at your analytics, you realize that's really not how it works. And, for every 100 people who hit your site, 2, maybe 3 of them will make an order, 2 or 3% website conversion to order, right? There's sites that do better than that. That's fine, but that's probably what you'll see. So the question then becomes, okay, if you have any success driving traffic to your store, what are you doing to build that relationship? Because you know that this person is going to leave, most likely, without making an order. And so that's where list building comes in. And I think list building, its reputation comes and goes every couple of years. Right now, list building's hot again because of all the changes in Facebook. But a lot of people hate pop-ups. They hate the term pop-up. But my data on our platform shows that lots and lots of people put their email in exchange for an offer, in exchange for learning more because they're not ready right now. They'll even put in a phone number to learn about you more through text. So, and in the data that I shared, the 500 million email addresses, like that's real, right? 7 billion in sales from those contacts. Like that's very real. So, I think pop-ups got a rap because, people think of them as like, there's no targeting, right? So what I want to make sure on this episode is that anyone listening understands that the approach and strategy that I recommend after 10 years in this space for list building is very similar to what a lot of the gurus talk about for email marketing. And it's all about segmentation. And if you take that same level of segmentation that you're thinking about for like email automation flows, and you think about your website traffic with that same lens, like that's where the magic of list growth comes in. And I'll give you an example, right? You bought an Instagram ad and someone clicked. So you just paid to bring this customer to your store. They've, added something to cart, maybe it's $50, whatever. And technology helps you detect that they have $50 in the cart and they're leaving and they came from a paid ad. You have no idea who that person is. You won't be able to send them your fancy email automation, right? So like that combination of value in the cart, maybe number of visits, has not ordered before, came from a paid ad, I'm going to get really aggressive and show that person an exit intent pop-up if they meet those segmentation criteria. And we call that a cart saver, right? So cart savers, they'll convert about 10% of people that are abandoning cart into a lead. Huge value there. That's just like one simple example of a really targeted pop-up that I think every single store should be running, and probably 1 or 2% of them are because they're not thinking strategically about list growth.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I loved your content. B, became a user of Privy. Like we use it, as I've said to you, and a big part of why I loved it so much and didn't use just another, because there are other solutions out there, right? But where Privy excels, I think, is in that segmentation, and you can only show pop-ups when someone scrolls a certain amount of, been on site for a certain amount of time, exit intent, all of those things, like you say. I think I came into, trying to build out a D2C site thinking, pop-ups, do we really want those? Do we want to be that kind of brand? And, you have helped me through, your great podcast as well, educate me on actually this, it doesn't have to be a spammy thing. It doesn't have to be a bad user experience. And as you said, the stats show that it does convert well.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome that you listen to the podcast. I wasn't sure if anyone does.
Don't be so humble.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
2 million visitors a day.
I'm kidding. But look, I agree. I think someone just tweeted yesterday or 2 days ago how much they hate pop-ups. And it was like a huge thread. Like everyone was piling on. But those same people are the ones touting retention marketing through email and SMS. So my question to the group is like, what is your list growth strategy if you're not willing to kind of put an offer in front of your customer that will help you as the business capture the lead? It's just, it's amazing. And I have even customers that have kind of boomeranged over the years, that started with us, had tremendous success with like really targeted list growth efforts, shut them all down, and they're back a few years later, and their biggest problem is that they need to grow their list. And so I think the best time to get some of these systems in place on top of your website, I'm not even shilling Privy. Like, Privy's got a great free plan. It's awesome. There's a lot of great ways to do this, but like, even if you get 100 visitors to your site a month, get a welcome pop-up in place for new visitors. Get a cart saver in place for non-subscribers that have money in the cart that are leaving, right? At a minimum. And then just have the confidence that as you grow your traffic 6 months from now or 12 months from now, you've got some of the right like website funnel stuff in place. And there's a lot more examples of great targeted plays that you can do on your site, but those are the two kind of absolute basic ones that I would get started on any single e-commerce site.
No, that's good. And then for the welcome pop-up, what are you seeing as the best converting offer?
Yeah, so that's a good topic. So let's dive into that. So when you have a pop-up or any type of form that you put in front of a consumer, there's certain things that impact the conversion rate of that, right? Hands down, the offer is the thing that impacts it most, right? So yes, design matters. Yes, targeting matters. But at the end of the day, it's what's in it for me as a consumer. And so we've found there's really three types of or categories of forms that we see. The first is what we just call a sign up. And that's like, hey, join our list and you'll be the first to get news and updates, right? Almost like what you see at the footer of a website, right? Where there's nothing really in it for them. That you should be converting about 1% of people that see it.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's like a fine thing but it can be much stronger than that. The next is a true offer, right? So that's join our list and get X. And X could be a code for 10%. It could be $5 off. It could be free shipping on your first order. If you're doing something like that, the strength of the offer itself obviously will drive the sign-up rate, but you should be targeting a benchmark of 5% sign-up rate there. Then the third category is a little bit more kind of aggressive, and it's like what we call enter to win, or it could be like a spin the wheel, which we offer, and you've seen all that stuff. But that's where you see sign-up rates kind of climb well above 10%. And they're great. We just saw some data from the team that those like spin wheels will collect about 5 times more signups than on average across all Privy customers than a pop-up. However, a lot of that is a little bit lower quality from a lead perspective. So I think that's kind of a framework. And what I like to tell people is like, if you're super anti-discount for your brand, start with a sign-up, right? No discount. If you realize, oh, I'm driving revenue from email and you'd like to have a bigger email list, turn that sign up into an offer for 10%. Start small, right? 10% off code if you're a first-time customer. Watch that sign-up rate grow. Watch your revenue from email grow. And then say, okay, what other opportunities do I have to either increase the sign-up rate or find more targeted, groups of people that look alike on my website to get in front of?
That's good. Yeah, no, that's very helpful. A good breakdown for people, I think. But the key, obviously, is just getting started. Get started with something, because too many people are, missing the opportunity. And so key is getting started.
Yeah, I think it's very common. And this is not a crack. I love all founders and operators. It's hard stuff. But the most common thing I see is that a brand will have spent money and time setting up like all these automated email flows. And then similarly on their paid traffic, they're spending a lot of money on paid and, different retargeting funnels and this and that. And so like you're driving traffic, you've got great nurturing, but you've got this huge gap in the middle because you're doing nothing to convert that traffic into leads.
Yeah, for sure. Quick tech question, which is slightly off the beaten path here, but you mentioned the email opt-in in the footer of Shopify. What do your customers tend to do with that? Do they tend to then like somehow set up it? Because we've not found a way to sync that to your list. It's all in Shopify, but there must be ways to do that, right?
Yeah, so a few things. Like if you are using Privy, any contact that lands in Shopify will land in a platform like Privy too, just so you know. However, a lot of our kind of advanced customers, what they do over time is they replace that footer form with a Privy embed form. We have an embedded form style. And the reason for that is you can kind of create some of the same magic that happens after someone completes a Privy form. So as an example, maybe after they put their email into the footer, you want to reveal a coupon code. You want that code to be unique to that person, right? Or you want to drive them to, like your social page after. Like you can customize the thank you page versus like, traditional, templated embedded form. Like there's no control over those types of things.
Okay, cool. Good stuff. No, that's helpful. Once a customer begins to grow their list, what should they do with it?
What you shouldn't do is wait until Black Friday to send your first email. Which there's a lot of people listening that probably laugh and like they've been there, and I've been there with customers. I think the first thing you need to do, there's like 4 automated emails that every e-commerce business needs, right? The first is what we call a welcome series. So you just did a great job capturing that lead. Have a series of 3 emails that welcomes them, that tells the story of the product or the brand. Yeah. The second email, maybe you're showing some reviews, some social proof, or some more information about the product. The third email, maybe there's a code, or maybe you promised that in the sign up and you've got it. So have a welcome series in place, right? The next is cart abandonment. Everyone, look at your Shopify analytics. You're going to see it. You're going to be like, what the hell is going on? Everyone abandons their carts. This is normal behavior. You should expect about 60 to 70, maybe even more % of people that add to cart never make it to checkout. And that's fine. But have a cart saver pop up and then have a 2, maybe 3 email cart abandonment series. The first of that series, what I recommend is super simple, just like a plain text almost, doesn't need to be full of images, from the founder. Hey, I'm Ben, I'm the founder of this store. I noticed you were looking at products ABC. Did you have any questions about those? I'd be happy to answer for you. Nice. Right? Start there. Then the second one of that abandoned cart series, what I'd recommend is a code. Hey, we saved your cart. About supply chain issues. I don't know, inventory is limited. Here's a code for 10% off your first order. And it's good for 24 hours. And then again, we call it our magic cart reminder block. It'll show them what's in the cart. And then the third is just a follow-up one more day later. Hey, the code expires tonight, sort of thing. So that's classic, simple, don't need to put too much thought into it, have that. And then you've got stuff going out after, right? Post-purchase. Send a confirmation. It's easy to do in any platform. It's like post-purchase, but also one after fulfillment too. Yeah. The fulfillment trigger. Mm-hmm. And then from there, that's actually 3. And then just get yourself in a rhythm of sending ideally twice, 3, 4 times a month, but it's got to be at least once a month. Send something. Are you launching a new product? Right? Are you doing a Father's Day sale, a Mother's Day sale? Is there a holiday coming up that is in some way related to your brand? keep your list warm even outside of the automation.
Yeah, that's really good, really helpful. You talked to me about, obviously with Attentive acquiring Privy, Attentive being very strong in SMS marketing. You guys are obviously leaning a lot more, as are many other people, right? It's quite there's a buzz topic, SMS marketing. How have you sort of integrated that into the Privy experience? And again, what are you seeing as like the best use cases for that with your clients?
Yeah. So what we have seen is that there's still a tremendous amount of people that haven't done a great job implementing email, the foundation of email marketing for their business. So I think that's the core. That's where I would start if I was starting a brand. What we're starting to see is that there are pockets of your customer base that want more. And maybe they check email less, right? But everyone, when was the last time you didn't look at a text message you got, right? Versus your email inbox. So what we're starting to see is that there's probably a subset of your customer base, maybe your top 10% most loyal, that prefers text. And then as a business, one of the cool things is like, I'll share some stats on email marketing. A great benchmark for email marketing is about 20% of people that you send to will open it. About 1 to 3% will click it, right? Click something. And so with text, it's very different. Platforms don't know open rates, but I think it's safe to assume 98, 99%.
Yeah.
Look at the text. But the click rates that we're seeing are easily over 10% clicks.
Wow.
And it happens fast, right? Within minutes of the text going out. So that's like what's so amazing about text. And originally we weren't sure when we were just getting into it for our clients, like, with email, you need a list of 10,000, 20,000, 1,000. Like you need some scale because open rates are lower and clicks are lower. But with text, it's so different, right? We just had a great story of a customer that was hesitant about text, but was like, all right, I'll just try it. I love Privy, I trust these guys. They built their list to 28 contacts, 28. They sent their first text and they drove $800 in sales to 28 textable contacts. So the revenue per subscriber is significantly higher for text than it is for email. And you should expect that the list is smaller and more intimate. So, whereas I said, you should be doing 4 regular kind of broadcast email sends a month to your list and then the automated ones. With text, I think, you got to be a little bit more careful. You can't be as frequent with it, but the results are stronger, candidly.
Yeah, I'll be honest. That was my concern with because we build quite a lot of leads through a post-purchase ManyChat flow that we have, and one of the options in there is to integrate SMS signups, and I haven't done it yet because I am, my maybe limiting belief is that texting customers is a little bit spammy, but it's similar to email pop-ups, right? Limiting beliefs and
yeah, it's such a great thing to talk about here for a sec, because I'm getting the same pushback that I got when I first started educating customers around list growth, that I'm getting that I don't want to put a pop-up on my site. I would never want to hit a pop-up. It's the same thing for text. And usually when that's the reaction, but the platform data that we see shows people are opting in, people are not unsubscribing from text, and people are clicking and buying from text. That's where I say, okay, that's the opportunity for brand owners, because, maybe for some of the people listening, maybe you should only be doing SMS for your customer list, So I think it's an opportunity. It's early in this new marketing channel. The rules are stricter. You can't mess around. with opt-ins, and if you end up using Privy for text, we handle all of that for you. But like smaller list, it's going to be more engaged. It will drive more revenue.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I know you're super busy, and I said about half an hour, and we've kind of gone over that. So I want to honour your time and kind of draw things to a close. As much as I've got a billion other questions I could ask you, you've kind of already answered the question for us in everything you've alluded to. But if someone is looking to get started with growing their list on Shopify, etc., why is Privy, in your eyes, the best solution for doing it?
Yeah, Privy started with a focus on website conversion. And that means that for about 8 years before we got into email, the only thing that we did was list growth and website conversion. And so that means we approach it with a similar level of science to the big marketing automation companies and what they did with like how to engage a list. And what that means is we've got way more functionality, way more segmentation than everyone else. But for me, the point of pride about Privy is that even with the free plan, you're going to get live chat from a real rep at Privy that will respond to you during business hours in a minute or less. And like, that's what Privy's about, even if you're on the free plan. Because of the roots I have in small business, we're here to help, not just with software, but with the education. And that's a big part of the brand. And after our acquisition by Attentive, we just continue to double down on that same differentiator.
Yeah, and I can personally vouch. Your customer service is great, because we had an issue a while back, and they just kind of solved it for us straight away. So
awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ben, for coming on. We really appreciate you sharing all of the info that you have and your insight on this. If people do want to check out Privy, where's the best place to go?
Yeah, privy.com, Privy.com, or if you're on Shopify, just search for us in the App Store. It's the easiest install experience that way. And if you like this sort of tactic stuff, I do a daily podcast on growing D2C businesses. It's called E-commerce Marketing School.
Yeah, highly recommend checking that podcast out, guys. It's just super actionable content. You do like real short episodes as well. Just like
they're like most are 5 to 10 minutes, and then we do some interviews, like an interview or two a week as well.
Yeah, I'm so used to. I've had to adjust to your speed of speech because I listen to all your podcast on 2x, and so
I know I talk much slower. That's great.
But no, it's good. Highly recommend that, guys. Ben knows what he's talking about. Get some great guests on, and love everything that Privy are doing. So please do check it out. And again, I can highly vouch for Privy on your Shopify store. It's a great tool. There's a great free plan as well. It's a very generous free plan to get you started. So thanks, Ben, for coming on. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Awesome, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, of course, please do give the show a like. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on podcast platforms, and do leave us a review. Wherever you're listening, we really appreciate it. And we'll see you in another episode next week.